Do you ever feel like you're just drowning in the noise of your own life? Like you're treading water in a relentless sea of thoughts, memories, and anxieties, and you're just moments away from going under? That after everything you've been through, the very essence of who you are, your own spirit, feels distant? Almost like a stranger you pass on the street. Someone whose face is vaguely familiar, but whose story you no longer know. I know that feeling intimately. I have lived in that darkness, in that deafening quiet, where your own soul feels out of reach. It's a profound and disorienting loneliness. But today, I want to share something that became a light in that oppressive gloom. I want to share the 3 simple, powerful, and deeply personal prayers that pulled me out of the abyss and began the slow, tender process of reconnecting me to my own strength, and more importantly, to the higher presence that never let go. My hope, my own prayer today, is that these words can become a lifeline for you too. A hand reaching out in the dark to remind you that you are not, and have never been, alone. There was a time, in the aftermath of a period of deep and disorienting trauma, when I felt completely hollowed out. It's a strange and unsettling state of being, to be a house where no one is home. On the outside, I was the picture of functionality. I was a master of the motions. I went to work, I smiled at colleagues. I completed my tasks. I ran errands, paid the bills on time, and kept the machinery of my life running. But inside, behind my own eyes, there was a profound and terrifying silence, where the vibrant life of my spirit used to be. And it wasn't a peaceful, meditative silence. No, this was a heavy, static-filled quiet, the kind that buzzes and hums with unseen energy. A relentless, low-grade hum that leaves you more exhausted than any loud noise ever could. It was the sound of absence. My mind had become a war zone. It was a constant, merciless replay of painful memories, looping like a scratched record that I couldn't stop. This internal cinema played scenes of my deepest hurts over and over, and with each viewing, the wounds felt fresh. This was accompanied by a relentless chorus of self-doubt, a choir of inner critics that sang of my failures, my inadequacies, and my supposed role in my own suffering. And weaving through it all was a tangled mess of fears about the future, a future that now seemed like a dark, menacing landscape with danger lurking behind every corner. Nighttime was the worst. I'd lie awake for hours, my body rigid, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs, feeling utterly and completely unsafe in my own body, in my own bed, in my own home. Every creak of the floorboards, every distant siren, was a potential threat. My own skin felt like a borrowed coat that didn't fit right. During those long, dark hours, I would try to pray. I would try to form the words I thought I was supposed to say, reciting memorized lines. But the words felt like styrofoam, light, cheap, and meaningless. They felt like they were hitting the ceiling and just falling back down, empty and unheard. It was like trying to make an emergency phone call on a dead line. There was zero connection, just a dial tone in the soul. The feeling that settled over me was one of being an orphan in my own life. I felt disconnected from my past, from the girl who used to laugh freely and dream without limits. I felt disconnected from any hope for the future. And most painfully, I felt disconnected from a higher power. I had heard the promise that a higher power is close to the brokenhearted, that it binds up their wounds. But I felt like my heart wasn't just broken, it was shattered into such fine dust that there was nothing left for it to be close to, nothing left to bind. The world lost its color. Everything felt gray, muted, as if I were seeing life through a dirty window. Joy was something I remembered, like a story someone once told me about a faraway land, but I couldn't actually feel it for myself. I would watch other people laugh, connect, and live with a sense of vitality. And I felt like a ghost, haunting the edges of my own existence. I was just watching, wondering, if I would ever feel solid again, if I would ever truly inhabit my life and feel whole. But the worst part, the heaviest part of it all, was the loneliness. It was a suffocating loneliness that stuck around even when I was surrounded by people who loved me dearly. It's a unique kind of agony to be in a room full of friends or family and feel like you're a million miles away, separated by a thick wall of glass. How do you explain to the people you love that the person they know and love feels like she's not there anymore? That a traumatized stranger is living in her skin, speaking with her voice, but is terrified and lost? It was in that place of desperate, quiet, and profound darkness that I finally came to a shattering realization. I couldn't muscle my way out of this. I couldn't positive think my way to healing. The self-help platitudes felt like insults. I needed a lifeline that was stronger than my own will. I needed a different kind of prayer. Not the eloquent, polished prayers I thought I was supposed to pray, but something raw, real, and born of utter desperation. And that's when these 3 simple prayers began to form. Not from a place of strength, but from the very bottom of my weakness. They were the first honest words I had spoken to a higher power in a very long time. The very first battle I had to face was against the unrelenting chaos in my own head. The trauma hadn't just left scars, it had left behind a constant, looping soundtrack of anxiety, fear, and self-recrimination. It was an internal noise that was always on, a relentless broadcaster telling me I wasn't safe, that I was to blame for what happened, that I would never truly escape the prison of my past. This noise is a thief. It steals your presence, it steals your peace, it steals your sleep, and it steals your ability to connect with anyone, including a higher power. It's almost impossible to hear the gentle, still, small voice of your own spirit when the noise of fear is screaming in your ears at full volume. So this first prayer isn't about asking for some huge, instantaneous miracle or the complete removal of all pain. It's far simpler and in many ways more profound. It's simply about asking for quiet. It's an act of acknowledging the overwhelming storm and bravely, desperately, inviting a higher presence to be the calm in the very center of it. This prayer is about creating a small, sacred pocket of peace, a momentary ceasefire right in the middle of the raging pain. It's about asking for an intervention in the soundscape of your mind. Before we pray this together, I want you to give yourself permission to just be. Just take a slow, deep breath. You don't have to fix anything right now. You don't have to feel anything specific. You don't have to force yourself to be calm. Just be here, in this moment, as you are. That is enough. Right now, we are going to gently and humbly ask a higher power to turn down the volume. We're going to ask it to be our sound engineer, to gently slide down the faders on the channels of the world, the wounds, and the worries, so that we can begin to tune our ears to a different frequency. The frequency of love. Let's pray this together. You can close your eyes if that feels comfortable and safe for you. Allow your body to relax, just a little. Great Spirit, my mind is so loud. The memories, the fears, the worries. They feel like a relentless storm that I can't escape. I feel so overwhelmed, so battered and so deeply exhausted by the constant noise. I confess that I don't know how to make it stop. I have tried and I have failed. So right now, in my weakness, I am asking for your peace. A peace that goes beyond all human understanding. I ask you, Source of Peace, to come and stand in the middle of this violent storm inside of me. You don't have to make it all go away at once, but I am begging you. Just grant me a moment of quiet. A single, precious moment of stillness. Shield my heart and my mind from the noise. I ask you to stand guard over my thoughts. Silence the voice of fear that torments me. Silence the voice of shame that condemns me. For this moment, let me hear only your voice. The voice that tells me I am safe with you. The voice that tells me I am held and protected. the voice that whispers that I am loved. Be my refuge and my strength, an ever-present help in this trouble. Let me just rest here for a breath in the sacred quiet of your presence. Take another deep, slow breath in and let it out. This prayer is a starting point. It's a powerful way of saying, I can't handle this alone, and I'm finally ready to let a higher power help. Be prepared that you might need to pray this multiple times a day. I know I did. In the beginning, I prayed it multiple times an hour. Every time the storm of panic and intrusive thoughts started to rage again, I would come back to this prayer. I used it like an anchor. An anchor doesn't stop the storm from raging, and it doesn't make the waves disappear, but it holds the ship steady and keeps it from being dashed against the rocks. This prayer was my anchor, holding me steady until the storm inside calms down, even just a little. It's the essential first step to creating the sacred space where true healing can actually begin. After the initial storm of anxiety began to quiet down, even for brief moments, I noticed a second, more subtle layer of injury. My connection to my own spirit, to my very self, just felt severed. It was as if the trauma had been a neurological event that had cut the lines of communication between my head and my heart. I was numb, profoundly disconnected from my own feelings, my own desires, my own identity. It was like looking at my own reflection and not recognizing the person staring back. That numbness, I've learned, is a survival mechanism. It is our bodies and our minds' incredible, natural way of protecting us from pain that is too overwhelming to process all at once. It's a circuit breaker that trips to prevent a catastrophic overload, but you cannot live a full, vibrant life when you're perpetually numb. True healing requires feeling again, and to be perfectly honest, that can be one of the most terrifying prospects for a trauma survivor. To open the door to feeling joy, you also risk opening the door to feeling the pain you've tried so hard to keep at bay. This second prayer is a gentle invitation. It is not a demand to feel everything all at once. It's a gentle, cautious request for a higher power to help you safely reconnect with the lost parts of yourself. It's about asking it to be the gentle and trustworthy bridge between your hurting, analytical mind and your hidden, tender heart. This prayer is an act of surrender, acknowledging that you may not know who you are anymore, but you are choosing to trust that the universe does. It remembers the person you were created to be, even if you've forgotten. It holds the original blueprint. This prayer is about asking it to tenderly reintroduce you to yourself, to the man or woman you were created to be, free from the heavy, ugly labels that trauma tried to brand you with. Let's enter this sacred time of prayer with a sense of gentle curiosity, without any judgment for the numbness or the disconnection you feel. Let's be kind to ourselves as we approach this time with grace. Higher power, you see me completely. You see how I've had to shut down just to survive. You see the parts of my heart that have gone into hiding, the pieces of my spirit that feel numb, dormant, and a million miles away. I confess, I feel like a stranger to myself. I don't know who I am anymore. But you know me completely. You know me better than I know myself. Nothing about me is hidden from your loving gaze, so I ask you to be my gentle guide. I ask you to come and gently reawaken my heart. Breathe life into the parts of me that have fallen asleep. Help me to feel again, but please, do it safely, under the complete protection of your perfect love. Heal my body from the shock and the memory of what happened. Remind me that my emotions are valid, that they are messengers, but they do not have to control me. Lead me beside the still waters. Do what only you can do. Restore my soul. Help me to know, in the deepest part of my being, that I am a beloved child of the universe. That my identity isn't in what happened to me or what was done to me, but in who I am at my core. Let me feel that first faint flicker of my own spirit again, and I trust you to fan it into a gentle flame. I want to come back home to myself, with you leading the way. This prayer initiates a tender and sacred process, so please be radically patient with yourself. Healing that deep connection to your own spirit is like coaxing a frightened, wounded animal out of hiding. It cannot be rushed. It takes time, immense gentleness, and a quiet consistency. After you pray this, just sit for a moment. Don't strive for a big experience. Just notice. Notice any small, subtle sensation, a feeling of warmth in your chest, a single tear that falls without warning, a momentary sense of calm in your body, a deep breath that feels just a little bit fuller. These are the first whispers of your returning spirit. They are little signs, little winks from the universe, that a healing force is at work, tenderly and masterfully, knitting you back together again. Trauma is a liar. It is a master manipulator, a cruel whisperer in the dark. It whispers that you're broken beyond repair, that you're dirty, stained, and fundamentally worthless. It works tirelessly to convince you that what happened to you now defines you, that you are somehow less than, less valuable, less human because of the wounds and the scars you carry. After living in the suffocating noise of that lie for so long, you unconsciously begin to believe it. Your innate, intrinsic sense of worth gets bulldozed, dismantled, and torn down, brick by painful brick. Shame becomes the lens through which you see yourself. This final prayer, then, is an act of sacred defiance. It is a rebellion. It is a bold, courageous declaration of universal truth over the insidious lies of the darkness. It's about consciously and intentionally claiming the worth that is your birthright, a worth that was bestowed upon you at your creation, and that no person, no event, no circumstance, no trauma can ever take away from you. This prayer is about making the choice to see yourself through the eyes of love, cherished, precious, and completely worthy, not because of what you do or what you've accomplished, but simply because of who you are. You were created as a masterpiece, a work of art. These are not just pretty, poetic words, they are foundational, bedrock truths. This prayer helps you to take the living water of truth and begin to wash the grime of trauma, shame, and worthlessness off of your soul, so that you can once again see the unshakable, untarnishable value that has been there all along. Let's pray this now, not as a timid request, but as a powerful declaration of what is already eternally true. Great Source, I come before you, and I make a choice right now to believe what truth says about me, over and above what my feelings or my past say about me. The darkness has told me I'm worthless. It has told me I'm ruined, that I'm defined by my scars, that I am beyond hope. But today, with all my strength, I renounce those lies. They have no power here. They have no authority over me. The truth is, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and I declare today that I believe it. The truth is that nothing, absolutely nothing, can separate me from love. And I declare that I receive that unconditional, unwavering love right now. You are the presence who sees me. I thank you for seeing me in my pain, for never looking away, and for loving me not in spite of my brokenness, but right in the middle of it. I ask you to wash away the sticky residue of shame and the heavy feeling of being unworthy. Clothe me in strength and light, in the identity that is my birthright. Help me to see myself through your eyes as whole, complete, and deeply cherished. Remind me every day that my past does not define my future, because I have a future filled with hope. I am not my trauma, I am not my pain. I am a child of the universe. My worth is not up for debate. It is not negotiable. It is sealed by infinite love. Help me to walk in this truth, to breathe it in and live it out, today and every single day. These 3 prayers were my lifeline. They weren't a magic formula, and they didn't fix everything overnight. But they were a pathway. They carved out a road back to a higher power when I felt lost in the wilderness. And they gently led me back to myself when I felt like a stranger in my own skin. Healing from trauma is a journey, not a one-and-done deal. It's not a straight line from broken to whole. It's more like a spiral, where we circle back to revisit old wounds. But each time we do so from a higher, stronger place. Please be so incredibly gentle with yourself through this process. You are not broken, you are becoming. What so often feels like a devastating ending is in the hands of the universe, just a new beginning in disguise. Remember that you are worthy of love, you are worthy of rest, and you are worthy of joy. You are allowed to take up space in this world. You are allowed to have needs. You are allowed to heal at your own pace, without apology. I really encourage you to save this video, bookmark it. Come back to these prayers whenever the noise gets too loud, whenever you feel that old familiar disconnection creeping in, or whenever you just need a powerful reminder of your incredible, innate worth. They're here for you as a resource, a tool in your healing toolbox. If you feel comfortable, and if this has resonated with you, I would be so honored if you would simply write, "I am healing," in the comments below. Think of it as more than just words. Think of it as a declaration of your own strength, a digital flag planted in the ground, a step forward on your own healing journey. You are not alone in this. Your story matters, and by sharing even those two small words, you become part of a visible community of brave men and women who are choosing to walk toward the light together. And please, if someone came to mind as you were listening, consider sharing this with them. You never know who might need to hear this message today. If you want to walk this journey together, I'd love for you to subscribe for more prayers and encouragement. You are so welcome here in this space. May you be blessed and kept safe. May light shine upon you and be gracious to you. May you be lifted up and find a peace that you can feel deep in your bones, deep in your soul. You are held, you are loved, and you are healing.